Peace out.
And I'll start with this one. Good. Hey guys, and welcome to the 20th episode of Dreamers and Doers, where I interview people who live kind of a different life, live their passion, and try to create a better world, whatever that means to them. And I think you're part of them, Brent, so I'll stop the music and I'll say hi. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm pumped.
So yeah, I met Brent. So I was doing an acro-yoga session with UNLOCKT, as we do sometimes on the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool to do acro-yoga. And these guys come in, and he was like pretty skilled, to be fair.
Yeah, I was just like, what are you guys doing? Oh, yeah.
yeah, and just like joined and helped a lot.
You were in my backyard, so I thought I'm gonna come down and say hi.
Yeah, because you live in a van on Bondi Beach.
Yeah, definitely.
So can you tell us a bit, about maybe just a bit about your life to start with?
Oh, my life. Wow.
Like your background.
My background. Okay. Yeah. How much time we got?
Usually I do 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I'd say the background maybe 3 minutes.
3 minutes? Okay. A brief was, grew up in the western suburbs. Started off as a tradesman and decided after my trade, I was like, I want to do something that I love doing. So I moved into becoming a snowboard instructor. Mm-hmm. So I did that for 5 seasons on and off. Okay. So because it was a seasonal role, it kind of allowed me to dive into other roles and try and test the waters in many other careers. Mm-hmm. So I started traveling a fair bit. Mm-hmm. And after I had a big accident, big accident, okay. Kind of dislocated my elbow, got a scar from here to here, and wrist as well, and my knee, whole right side, the whole masculine side, definitely got a big beating. Mm-hmm. So I always say that was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Okay. Wow.
Because I was just floating through life, and I felt like, in this extreme sports living, I felt like it was cool, but I had no real purpose. And 6 months of recovery to sit down and figure things out. And I actually read my first book at the age of 23. Never really read a book in my life before that.
Whoa.
And it definitely started a big learning curve for me. I went on a big spiritual trip, ended up going to India for the first time and working with orphans. Did a big charity drive out there in the south of India. So I definitely found my kind of purpose on helping people in that, coming out of that injury. So 30 years old now, and since there it's taken me all over the world. I've worked on super yachts, big work with some of the richest people in the world, traveling around to the best places, eating the best food, doing the whole famous kind of route, and realizing, actually experiencing that the happiness that we're looking for is not at that end point that most people are kind of striving to. Also I worked up at Hayman Island for a few years and loved that kind of island lifestyle where everything was very minimalistic and everything was cool, no stress, and you could just focus on more important things. So that kind of all fed into my van living now. That's very minimalistic.
Okay, and so guys, you can definitely ask questions at any time. And so Brent, so I met him. You live in when you said it was in your backyard, because you live in that van here on Bondi Beach. Really nice van, actually. You can see you put a lot of love into this van. Yeah,
it's taken a while.
Is it like, to you, does it mean like freedom? Like you can
definitely. It's I feel like as I was like minimizing my outgoings, kind of maximizing my abilities to just work on my passions and learn as much as I want. So this year is pretty much the first time I've been back in Sydney for a long time. For the longest time I've been here for about 8-9 months now. So usually it'll be like 4 or 5 months and I'm off to my next adventure. But the van's kept me here, and it feels like it's kind of stage 1 of retirement. Like me being able to not have any overheads or anything like that, and I can just pick up and go, and that's the plan after Burning Man.
Do you think people live with too much shit they don't need?
Yeah, definitely. definitely. And experiencing that to the other spectrum of seeing someone with a $30 million yacht, and just seeing how they're nowhere near as happy as I am with my one backpack that I travel. Yeah. I travel just a 38 litre on carry-on luggage, and I feel like the value in my life can be when I live with these people for 6-9 months, and I watch their lives and I kind of study how they move and how they walk and the people that they talk to and the friends that they have, and they're not all full of joy. There are some. There's some amazing. I've worked for amazing people, and I learned a lot from them. That was the idea, actually, getting over there, and why not learn from the top 1%? And a lot of it was learning what not to do.
Okay.
So
it's important too.
Yeah.
Because we can easily get overwhelmed with all the advice we get. So having a not to do list is often as important as a to do list.
Yeah, definitely. And I just love getting out there and experiencing this world. I feel like traveling by yourself and getting out there and just living out of a backpack kind of teaches us really how to live and how to empathize for all the different cultures of the world. And I feel like it's something that us humans have been doing for thousands of years. Like the Aboriginals have walkabout. When the kid gets to a certain age, they send him off to live off the land. Like they've taught him how to live, how to catch his food and do that. And Indian Americans had that as well. And you just kind of get out there and grow up. So go travel, get out there.
It's definitely important to see us also. Like I was talking with a friend like last week that was on the podcast, and it was about how it gives you a different perspective on what life is, what happiness is, what success is. And I know you've been questioning all of this.
Yeah.
Do you feel traveling played a big role in making you question?
Yeah, definitely asking the right questions and getting the right answers. So it's definitely kind of I foresee all the different career paths that I've had, and I look at them and I see down the pipeline, and I question myself, where am I going to be if I stay down this path, if I stay with these people and I stay with this life? And because I've experienced so many different loves and so many different lifestyles and different people and stuff, I can kind of pick up the best from all them and cultivate them in myself and try to become my best self. So there's so much out there, so much knowledge out there, and so much wisdom in the world. And that's why you got to get to Burning Man. That's where it all is.
Oh yeah,
not all of it.
It's on my list, definitely on my list. Not this year.
Yeah.
But probably next year.
Lock it in.
Probably next year.
Book your flights, then you have to do it.
Yeah,
that was how I usually traveled. I would just be like, I want to go here, and I don't have the money, I don't have this, so I just book my flight.
And then it's done.
It's amazing.
Then you figure it out.
Yeah, well, what your brain does, it starts to see the patterns.
Yeah,
it's recently what I've been studying with the brain, is like the RAS system, the reticular activating system, that notices patterns in your life. So I've been really aware of that recently, and when you can actually visualize where you want to be and your kind of end goals, you activate this part of your mind, and then you start seeing patterns, and you start going with more of a flow that's in line with your higher self, and it's super interesting.
Well, I'll just tell you why I didn't do this yet. It's because I wanted to start more. Like, I'm really passionate about my business at the moment. I'm a bit, maybe it's a mistake, but I'm a bit pushing for it, and I feel like like next year would be good.
Yeah, it'll come. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It'll call, and you'll pick it up, and you'll come.
I have a lot of calls from a lot of different experiences I want to do now, and it's there's a lot from Vipassana to all the things. So I'm doing a lot of things, but still can't do everything at the same time.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Not in this consciousness.
And how long have you been living in a van now?
Well, I was doing it in LA in another van. I've got 2 vans. I'm gonna have a van in every country at one point. I was like, how much money I'll be making? I'll still be living in my van. It didn't really change me. It just changed my because yeah, money just gives you opportunities to do things that you want to do. So yeah, so the start of when was it? I bought my first van in November last year, so not too long.
Okay.
So yeah, just under a year, but been that van I built at Home Depot for $200, and I picked most things off the side of the street, and I did that in an afternoon. This van has taken me about 4 months and about 15 grand.
Yeah,
So
you can see it. I posted once on Instagram about it, but I'll do another post next time I come. It's really cool.
it's got a bath. My van's got a standalone claw bath.
Yeah, and you can DJ from your van too.
Yeah, got a.
Were you sometimes like a bit fed up with it, or?
Oh yeah, it's a massive journey.
Like if someone's like, oh, I'm considering living in a van, like myself, for example.
Yeah.
What would you say, like, as pros and cons?
Get used to going for swims. I just went for a swim in the mid of winter just tonight. Yeah, but it's cool. Bit of cold water therapy. Yeah. But preparation to actually get a van, it depends. Like, obviously, living full time, you want, you want to buy the right kind of van, so mechanically knowledge, and if I was to do it again, I would rather just like save up all the money that's going to cost to build it, and then do it in like one big go, as opposed to trying to work full time and then after work trying to build and then coming back, and that's the lesson that I kind of learnt, I think. I think for me, if I had a partner doing it would be much easier. It was my first kind of entry point into interior design and all these colors and all this stuff, and had to tap into my feminine side. And I felt like it would be much better if I had a partner. All the Instagram ones, you see them all building the stuff, and I'm like, trying to put up something and no one's helping.
Maybe in the future, leaves opportunities.
Definitely.
To do it later.
Definitely.
We wanted to talk about morning routines too.
Yeah.
So if you tune into, is it the Yogi Captain, your Instagram?
Yeah.
Brent's a pretty fit dude. You can see him at the outdoor gym in Bondi.
Yeah.
And what's your morning routine? What's your tips, and why do you think it's important?
I'll start from why I think it's important. Because I kind of live by a motto saying how you live your days is how you live your life. And after reading The Power of Now and listening to Eckhart and really resonating with some of the stuff he says about time, about the concepts of all the 3 different types of time, whether it's psychological time, just where you're stuck in the past and the future, and present moment time and clock time. But when I really understood this, that it's just time is just a concept in our mind. So whether it's our days, our months, our years, or our lives, if that is true, if the quote is true, saying how you live your days is how you live your life, which it's pretty easy to see if you're spending half your day frustrated or stressed, and if you do that every day for your life, you're going to have a pretty stressful, frustrating life. But so I shrunk that down to like how you start your days is generally how your day goes. So and then I shrunk that down even further to the first thoughts that you think when you wake up generally will depict that next minute. We'll shift your morning routine into something that's going to transform your life and get you to your goal.
Creates a virtuous loop.
Yeah, exactly. But it even starts, my morning routine starts before I even go to bed. So when before I go to sleep, I think about the thoughts that I'm going to think when I wake up. So, and I use a key of repetition. Repetition is my master skill, I think, a lot of things. And when I don't have to think about what I'm going to think, it's already there. It's already.
And that works. Then that's the first thought.
Yeah, and then the momentum starts. A snowball effect kind of starts.
Is it always the same, or do you choose the day before?
Yeah, well, it does vary, but it doesn't have to be a whole string of words that you think. It can turn into a feeling. I think
being energized when you.
Yeah, but I'm a extremist. I go to the extreme. So I think if I want it to be a fucking amazing thought, I will pick all the most amazing things out of my future, out of my past, out of my present. and build this idea or this kind of overwhelming feeling of ecstatic joy, of euphoric feelings. Yeah, whether it's me holding my newborn baby and this look on my face and like tearing up kind of stuff, or the love from your mother, or the the times when I taught this kid how to walk in India, little orphan, and that moment is one of those moments where I'm like, wow, I'll never forget that. So even talking about it, I get a little emotional. But yeah, it's good. It kind of really fuels your passion, and after you do it for a certain amount of time, like anything, it becomes effortless. Your brain, your amygdala starts to repeat it so much that you don't need your frontal cortex to actually activate it. So it's good. And then it just turns into, like, your morning routine is not really a routine, it just turns into life after a while.
So like that's how you get flow in your life, in your whole day. So it was a stint that I did a couple of years ago, and then it evolved in. I always sometimes need a kind of a check depending on the my excuses throughout the day, or my jobs, or my this or this. But obviously the easy ones are just not picking up your phone straight away, and the moment you wake up, it's just getting rid of the snooze is a big thing. And the moment that the alarm goes off, just sit straight up. And I even went through a phase where I was going into a yoga poses straight away. So from waking up, I roll over and just go into child's pose and just sit and just breathe, and then stand up and do a bit of cat cows and a bit of dancing lion, a bit of get the backbone moving, and then and then just kind of roll over. And the quicker you can kind of stand up, and the quicker you can bring light into the room, and getting obviously a big drink of water and some fresh air, your morning kind of, what do you call it, just that kind of slumps, or what are they, like those kind of things that are like sluggish kind of feelings, they go quick when you get those things into your morning routine. And then you can get to a certain point, and you just jump straight up, and I feel like the snoozing is a pretty big one. I feel like especially if you start snoozing, you kind of tell your body like, I don't want to go into that day. Exactly. And I've never heard about the thought, which is a really, really interesting one. But those simple things. Do you make your bed too? Yep. Okay. Because there's a bit of
in the van you got to forced into because
but like the rationale behind is that's your first task of the morning. That's like a general from the army, I can't remember his name, but he talks about so you achieve your first task, and then it launches the virtuous loop of achievements in your day.
And it kind of stops this kind of build up of all the small little goals in your head that kind of bring stresses into your mind. Definitely a clean space brings fuel for a lot of creativity. And I've got into these really amazing morning routines where everything had a spot and time, like like my meditation flow, my environment, and it was just like, I remember times where I'm like, wow, I've done more in this 2 weeks of this awesome morning routine than I did in the last 2 years. Like more for my mind, more for my consciousness, my flow. So there's so much power in having a good, strong morning routine.
Well, and by the way, you'll give me your advice, because what I do when people tune in on the UNLOCKT website is I did a little ebook. It's like a free 7-minute morning routine. So very simple. But definitely think that changes your life. Even if you take those 7 minutes to do little things that you say, a bit of child pose, not snoozing, drinking water, just warming up your body for the day and your mind.
Definitely.
It's gonna change much.
There's
So look on the website, guys.
Check it out.
Get the ebook.
But how you live your days is how you live your life. So get out there and live. And it's amazing, like living with back to the super yacht kind of stint that I did for about 3.5 years, being able to see these people that have performed at their peak, and how they wake up in the morning and how they live their days. And yeah, that was definitely a good experience to see. So yeah, what it takes to perform, to operate in multiple billion-dollar companies. Takes a lot of phone time, but you still have to go to get yourself to a productive state to stay sane, because I mean these CEOs, I call them like chief energy officers. They're not chief executive officers. They're shifting the energy in a company, and yeah, they're practically just putting out fires left, right, and center. And yeah, if you don't put the fire out properly, you get burnt.
Okay.
So yeah, and the larger the fire is, or the bigger the problem is, the more you get paid. So figure that one out. So yeah, this is my next phase, getting out of full-time work and getting into full-time coaching. And yeah, pretty
like
excited.
Individual coaching.
Yeah. Just I think I've been down a lot of holes in my life, and I think a lot of people can relate to them. And I feel like I've got the tools and the ideas to bring out the best in people.
Well, from a few conversations with you, you've given me really good advice, so I can definitely second that.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so I'm excited about full-time van life, and after Burning Man, come back and move up to Byron. So if you're at Byron and you see the van, come down and say hi.
Yeah, and I remember us talking about some of your crazy, not so crazy ideas, but like really creative ideas about, like, you know, offering your van life and all these things. So I mean, it's probably not time to talk about all of that, but yeah, definitely have interesting outside the box ideas of how to make business, or like leverage your lifestyle and your knowledge. Yeah,
there's definitely a good little community down there as well. A few other people that are entrepreneurs, building businesses, and there's a fair bit of wealth in the van life in a way. A lot of, you know, awakened wealth, as opposed to just greedy people that want more money to buy more things. And so there's people out there that want more money to help more people, and conscious living. And I feel like there's two ways to get wealthy. Is like there's like some people get wealthy through really pursuing money, but that can get miserable in a lot of other parts of their life, or like people who try to contribute so much that it naturally flows, which I feel is a better way. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's so many like different areas of your life, and you're in relationships are one of the biggest ones. Like if you focus your energy into good relationships by using good communication skills, and I mean, that's so much more valuable than any money. And people say, "Oh, you've traveled the world. What's your best place you've been?" And I'm like, the places are generally all the same, especially when you're in a paradise place, whether you're in Tahiti or you're in the Mediterranean or the Caribbean, and all the places that were the yachtings, they're all similar. But it's the people that you're with. Like working on a yacht, it's like it can be the best job in the world. At the same time, it can be the worst job in the world, depending on the people that you're with. So yeah, understanding the value in communication and relationships was a big thing for me, I think. Yeah. That's why I attracted you and the UNLOCKT community. Get into it.
We usually wait the end of the interview to hug, but let's hug.
Oh, come on, mate. Right, I'm gonna get my clicker for Burning Man. Last time I was like, damn it, I wish I counted how many hugs I got.
Oh yeah,
because it's ridiculous.
You can get it if you go to a Tony Robbins event too.
They give you a clicker.
They don't give you a clicker, but you do a lot.
Oh, the hugs. Oh, yeah. Okay. I was gonna say.
It could be a fair competition.
Yeah.
Burning Man and Tony Robbins.
Yeah, definitely.
What you'll probably find more at Burning Man though is the use of psychedelics, which is an exciting subject.
Yeah, I think people do use that there. Yeah, definitely.
So you told me you're quite comfortable talking about it. I am too, and I think more and more people are.
I just want to say that this is, they're not drugs, they're the medicine that we've been using. So it's, don't do drugs, kids. Just, Also, don't believe everything you hear from the government, but psychedelics is very interesting. There's a quote that I heard the other day, which is pretty surreal. He was comparing, before we actually had the telescope, we didn't know much about the stars. I mean, the Greeks knew these things, but we didn't actually know what they looked like close up. So we invented this tool, and then now we understand. Now we're on the way to Mars. Yeah. So we understand the stars a fair bit since we've used this tool. And also the microscope, we didn't know much about biology before that, and now we understand a lot. And he was comparing those two tools to psychedelics to understand the mind. So, and I really believe that. I mean, the stuff that I've had in my therapy, my psychedelic therapy sessions, I've really understood a lot more than what it would take to, spend 10 years in a therapist's chair talking about re-digging up your pains and doing all this stuff. So
it's just like, it's there. Okay.
Yeah.
See it.
Yeah. Well, you get to this realization that your thoughts are not you, and you have this ego dissolution, and I feel like they're all pointing to the same direction, or the same step, where you have this, where you experience consciousness, and it's just a blank canvas. And if you want to change your life, you can't really change it if you're stuck on who you think you are. Yeah. So when you actually realize and awaken this moment, and you're like, wow, actually, this is just a hat that I've put on to, this is who I am. And after actually experiencing the nothingness, it's amazing how much of an artist you can be, and how much you can really change and transform your life in a very short amount of time. So my first taste of that was in Amsterdam. So it wasn't illegal, sorry. In Amsterdam they have these smart shops that they're just like shops. There's just like a news agency that has a whole glass thing. Like it's not hidden or anything. It's on the main street, smart shop. You walk in there, and the guy's like, "Hey, what kind of trip do you guys want to go on?" And you're like, you just pick, and it's not like hidden. It's straight. Yeah, yeah. What do you call it? Like a universal travel agency. Which part of the universe do you want to go into? So I told him that my idea, that I study a guy called Jason Silver, and he talks about psychedelic therapy and stuff like that. Study that guy; he's amazing with his words. Anyway, so he was over in Amsterdam, and I was in the US at the time, and I said to the girl that I was with, "Do you want to go to Amsterdam?" She's like, "Yeah, sweet." So we went over to Amsterdam, and so I had this idea where I had this amazing experience in a floatation tank, and amazing experience on mushrooms, and I was like, why not put them together? So actually experiencing in a flotation tank, and if you've ever been, have you been in one before?
In a flotation tank? No.
So it's like a sensory deprivation tank. So you lose all your senses. So all the things that you think you are about a human, like all the things that when your eyes are shut, you can't hear anything, you can't smell anything, and you can't feel anything, which is the most surreal thing you ever experienced, because you're always touching something. You always got gravity. You always at this. You're always moving. You're always worried.
Are you in water?
Yeah. So
can't you feel the water?
So you're in this. It's like a very, very, very salty water. Do you know, like the Red Sea? You float. Yeah. Same thing. So it's got I don't know the exact name of what's the name of the magnesium or something like that. Anyway, so you float practically on the water, so it's effortlessly.
But still in touch, don't you feel?
But you don't need to But you don't need to. Do you know when you're in water, you need to kind of stay afloat? You don't. You just stop. So once I feel like I'm a little ship in there, and I kind of just, once I get on course and I just stop and don't move and go into like a meditation, you lose your body, and then. So that was the flotation tanks part, and then the psychedelics is
that in Amsterdam?
Yeah. Quran float, I think the name was.
Okay, because I'm in Europe in a month. So.
Oh, nice. Well, they got one here as well.
Okay.
They got a float tank up in Bondi Junction. There's a few going around. But yeah, so with my psychedelic therapy, I went into it saying I wanted to release judgment. I wanted to stop judging external things and trying to have these preconceptions of like what's good or what's bad, and just see things as they were. So this was my manifestation or my intention going into the trip, and as I go through my psychedelic, rocket ship kind of through past lives, through this, whatever is happening, I wasn't judging it. I was like, just seeing it as it was, and what it really, after half an hour of that, it stopped, and it just went into this of nothingness, of like, it's not even, there's no word to explain it. It's the closest thing to consciousness, or people say the heaven or whatever it was, but it was just this blank canvas, and I actually had to consciously say, no, I want to come back. I've got more things to do on this earth. So I felt like I could have stayed there for forever, whatever time is, whatever ever is. But it was a really interesting experience, and I feel like I experienced what it would be like to be dead but still alive, and it kind of I lost the fear of death, and it was amazing. After that, for the next 7 hours of the trip, we ended up at a festival in Amsterdam, and just the love and the people that I was attracting into my life, and the openness, and it just really taught me a lot. And that's been the biggest thing, about how to bring back from a trip, how to bring it back into your day-to-day life and make you a better person. And that's what the therapy is. So.
And just as you said, we talk about it with what you call a good setting, right? It's not like taking drugs randomly when you party or stuff.
Yeah.
It's very different. And actually, so I started that book called How to Change Your Mind by Michael Pollan.
Yep.
He talks about how it got really popular in the 50s actually, to do like this kind of therapy, and then it got like really bad press, well,
the government realized
the
government realized that people that were in the 50s and 60s, when before the wars were happening, or just as the World War I was happening, or whatever, what was that? Anyway, the people weren't going to war because
it's hard to send someone to war.
When they're liberated and they're free. So it's quite interesting about what the governments and even religions as well have realized, that we can't. People aren't going to follow us if everyone is a leader, if everyone is, so they suppress you down so you can work in there. Especially through the Industrial Revolution, they needed to invent the 40-hour work week to get to where we are now, which is, good on them. We're here now, but we don't have to stay here.
And it's the same with the educational system that's still built for like people who would work in factories, but like now it doesn't work that well for the jobs we need.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but on the science of psychedelics for therapy, it's actually getting back to kind of more accepted. Like there are more and more universities in the US that use it. You can see, I did an article on this. There are heaps of like TED Talks that talk about how they can be used. Podcasts like Joe Rogan, Tim Ferriss is financing a lot of these scientific studies. So this book by Michael Pollan is getting it's quite.
I think they're in stage 3 testing for psilocybin, which is whatever that means. I'm sure it's better than stage 1 and 2, but it's getting closer to actually being accepted into. It deals with so many depression and anxiety and PTSD, and because it really, when the psilocybin takes over your serotonin in your brain, it allows you to kind of get rid of the fear that's holding you back, and that's why obviously doing it in a safe spot and with good people around is obviously ideal. You don't want to do it sitting in the middle of a highway. There's like anything, but the beauty about psilocybin is if you were to put that in a bottle, and then you were to write all the side effects on the back of it, and it'll just be like, you may have altered consciousness, or you may not, you may get all trippy, but there's nothing like if you take too many, you're going to kill a newborn baby, or you're going to die, or you're going to do all this stuff. So the side effects are very low impact when you compare it to all the legal drugs. My dog just ate Panadol the other day, and it cost us $2,500 because it nearly died because of this stuff that just gets rid of a headache. But that's a dog anyway. But these legal drugs kill way more people.
Yeah, or like when you drink alcohol, it makes you actually less conscious. So you like it's better to be in the system and work in the system.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's interesting. And you talked about fear of death. Psilocybin is actually quite used for people in the terminal phase of their cancer to accept death. It's got really good results for this. Yeah.
If it doesn't start healing them, depending how far they are down. Yeah, I met some with the ayahuasca as well. I mean, I've done a few journeys with that and DMT, just the smoking version of it. And I met so many people along my travels that have even been cured from terminal diseases through this.
Yeah.
Like I met a girl in India. She was she was I think she had MS, and she was just performing really bad. She was very low on all the tests they were giving her, and then she packed up all her stuff, sold everything, and moved to Brazil, and just did ayahuasca for a few months and came back. She did all the studies and everything like this, and she had all so she documented her whole journey, and she came back, and then she was excellent in all their tests, and they were like one of those things where, I mean, I woke up the other day after my last journey, and I thought, I come up with a quote, and I don't know if I've read it anywhere, but it was like, everything that is humanly possible today, some point in the history of this earth, wasn't humanly possible. I mean, whether it was our evolution from the monkeys to to this thing, there was at one point where we weren't humanly able to stand up straight, or it wasn't humanly possible to talk. We have learnt these laws of humanity through the evolutions of thousands of years, but actually thinking about that, I was like, what's possible in the future, especially with technology and the things that we're learning, and that's like it just really set my mind on a uber optimistic view on what we can actually create.
And I can speak about that during hours, but we'll not now. You read I recommend Homo Deus. Into a bit transhumanism, AI, and the question is gonna rise about what our consciousness is. Can you upload a consciousness, like that kind of things. Really interesting. But I'll just jump on the last question, which is, what's next for you?
What's next for me? As I said before, kind of stage one of retirement. With this coaching, it's like, this is the first time I've actually been able to see to the end of my life, if I am going to die. We're speaking about before.
How about your writing? Can we talk about it?
So me diving into releasing this book that I've been writing for the last 5 years, and it's pretty much a book of all the mistakes that I've learned in my life from other people, from the richest to the poorest, and the whole different perspective around the world. And it's my understanding of the evolution in satisfaction in humans. That's the short of it, and it's called the Coolidge effect. And it's a bit of a phenomenon that happens in the minds of mice and chickens that have been studied on, and I believe it happens with our human minds a lot with different types of what would you say? So if you were to do the same thing over and over again, it loses its spark, its
like partying, for example. At some point I was like,
well, anything. I mean, even the best food in the world, if you eat, like I was up in Boston for a month, and I'm like, I'm really sick of lobster. And I'm like, who am I? Anyway, but so some of the understanding this, we can stay ahead of the game, and we can use these tools of I say tools because it's like a toolkit. The more things you pick up, whether it's like something that you can deal with, whether it's a breakup or something, or something, you can answer the questions that you have in your head about, what about this, or money, or this. If you have a toolkit to fix all these things, that when life throws you, like life's always going to throw you, he's always going to like throw shit at you. If you can like pull out the tool and go, fuck, all right, I can fix this because I learned that thing when I was here, or when I was this, or when I read that book, and then you can experience that present moment so much better. than being stuck in a thinking feeling pattern. And so it turned into a book somehow. I never see myself as a writer. It started off just as a bio, and then I was like, oh, actually, and then one productive night it turned into 5,000. Now it's 43,000 words now. So in the final stages of just getting the whole flow happening, and it's super exciting. And this next era of my life is going to be full-time helping people, and super excited. And that's something that I can see. Somebody said the other day, is like, would you do your job even if you did get cancer? And my answer was no. And a lot of the things that I did, I'm like, no. Be a captain. When I was a captain, I probably wouldn't. But being able to coach somebody and being able to influence or bring the best out of people, because that's what coaching is all about. So at the start of my book it says, don't believe anything you read in this book, but don't not believe anything you read. Just hold on to it. If it helps you, great. If it doesn't, it may help you in another area of your life. So writing with that in mind, like I dived into non-fiction, fiction, my bio, into all types of assets and all different angles, and like the possibilities of everything. So I was definitely questioning anything and everything, and it turned into a pretty epic book.
Nice.
So,
when is it out?
Good question. Well, at the moment I'm tossing up whether to. I'm going to do the audio book of it, and I'm going to do like a hybrid audio book. So I'm going to be reading the book, and then getting interviewed by people after each chapter about how I got to this, and talking about the chapter. So it's kind of tapping into the podcasting world as an audiobook. And then throughout my travels, I was going to put that on a MP4 player. Remember the old MP4 players?
Yeah, you told me that.
And I was just going to sell them, or just.
That's the best idea.
Yeah. So I like that way. I tried to go down the whole corporate way of selling my book to a publishing company and doing other stuff, and they were like, oh yeah, cool, you get 10% of your royalties, and we do all the thing. And I was like, so even if you sell 100,000, it's like still probably can't live off that. So
do you still need to go through those publishers?
No,
not anymore, right?
No, not anymore. You can just straight on Amazon, and a few clicks, and it's on iTunes and
Audible also, right?
Audible as well.
I love Audible.
Audible,
guys.
Definitely.
Changed my life, because I thought I didn't have time to read. And then anytime I was in the bus or in line in the airport, I was listening to like The Power of Now, Sapiens, or all these amazing books. Makes a difference.
And you can, and if you can master the skill of speed reading, it's good as well. I can put it on. I was sitting at 1.8 for a time there. So it's
listening.
Like, listening to 1.8 speed.
I'm
so
1.5, but I'm French, so it's
translation.
So like 1.5 English is pretty good already.
Yeah, definitely. But what else changed my life was those Google Assist Bose headphones. I'm not getting paid for this, but I should be. But I just loved it. It was my little assistant. Especially I was driving around a lot, and I would just be like, play Audible, stop, pause, record this message, send this email, call this person, and you just press up, and then you got Google in one button. So I was like, oh, how do I say this word? Where does this word come from? What is the origins of this word? And I'll just ask anything, and it should be answering me straight away. Obviously sometimes I'm like, really? And then but then you go to Google and you press the voice memo, and it Googles exactly what you want. So I'm like, why didn't you do it? But anyway,
Google Assist, I'll get that. I think we'll stop now, because it's already
44 minutes. Yeah,
we extended a bit, but that was really interesting. And as I say, we can speak about this during like hours. But thanks so much for being here. A bit of music to finish. We're already hugged. We're gonna hug again.
Yeah, man. Peace.
Thanks, man. Thanks, guys.
Ciao.
I'll speak to you soon. See you guys.